The theme of the International Beading Week 2026 are emblems. On this occasion, I decided to present an emblem myself. After much thought, I chose a special symbol, a tassel. But what could a tassel symbolize? We can answer this question if we get to know a little about old Hungarian clothing customs. The clothes of people who dressed in traditional Hungarian folk customs revealed a lot about them. Without words, they told us not only which country, but also which region the person came from, with the people who were living in the area additionally knowing the exact village. The clothes hinted at the financial situation of their owner, the occasion they were dressed for, and also about how old the person wearing the clothes was. Moreover, in the case of women, it expressed whether they were still single or already married, and whether they had children or not. All this was revealed by the specific combination of clothes and accessories worn, such as the headscarf, the necklace, and their colors. However, tassels as part of clothing are found only in a few places. One such place is Sárköz, where the tassel was called Csafring. These tassels were first made by the people of Sárköz themselves, and later by the button tying masters. Basically, there were two versions. One type consisted of thick fringes. Quoting Aladár Kovács, the old button-tying Csafring was similar to the well-known pipe tassels. This was made by the button-tying masters by crocheting yarn. The other type was technically similar to the tassels used to tie window curtains, also according to Aladár Kovács. Of these, we can find countless variations. Some are made of a single large tassel, while others are made of many small tassels strung together. These small tassels consisted of thin, hand-twisted strands of cord or small cylinders wrapped in yarn, decorated with countless tiny beads. Their heads were usually crocheted. Let's see what the tassel symbolized. A tassel could not be worn by girls, only by married young women who had not yet had children. It was tied to the bride's headdress on her wedding day, and she could wear it until the birth of her first child. This tassel meant that the woman was already married but had no children yet. It was always worn together with a veil wrapped around her head, the so-called tekerődző bíbor, which had the same meaning. The end of the veil was embroidered with golden and red, blue, yellow, green threads. The tassel was attached to the headdress and hung on a long cord at the back of the dress, all the way to the hemline, the bottom of the skirt. I found different data from several sources about the number of tassels worn at the same time. In their book, Kalárisnak, mondik, by Sándor, Balázs, Kovács, Mária, Decsi and Gyöngyi, Nagy, it was written that they were usually used in pairs. Dezső Malonyai mentions a tassel made of 3 beaded Csafrings was attached to the headdress, while according to Aladár Kovács, 2 or 3 pairs are often sewn together onto the headdress. Unfortunately, we have no documentation about the making of the Sárköz tassels, since most books only mention the beaded tassel as an accessory to the outfit. Therefore, everyone tries to recreate the atmosphere of the tassels of this era according to their own ideas. I made a near-identical copy of one of the tassels, the original of which is owned by Lászlóné Józsa, who lives in Báta. The photo of her tassel in question can be seen on page 124 in the book Kalárisnak, mondik. My copy was born because I was actually trying to figure out how the original piece was made. Unfortunately, the color and size of the beads and the cord I used are not exactly the same. But despite this, I think that the structure of the tassel is clearly visible. The head of it is made of a wooden rod with a hole in the middle, through which the cord that was used for attaching the tassel to the headdress runs. The body of it consists of tiny tassels hanging on beads, arranged in 2 layers. In fact, each small tassel is structurally identical. Their bodies are small cylinders wrapped with thread or yarn, to which crocheted heads are attached. A row of beads runs around the junction of the two, and the bead fringes decorating the body of the tassel are attached to this. The small tassels are so similar that the only difference between the 2 rows of tassels is that the top one has a red head and a blue body wrapped in thread, while the other one has a blue head and a red body wrapped in thread. In this Csafring, both layers of small tassels are attached to the head, the top layer with a shorter beaded net and the bottom layer with a longer one. The beaded net is made with the well-known and in Sárköz commonly used horizontal netting. The head of the large tassel consists of 3 layers. These are marked by threads in different colors. The red and the blue parts on top are of the same width, while the lower green is wider. A row of white beads runs alongside the border between the blue and green sections, but here it is made out of larger beads in comparison to the tiny tassels. To this are attached beads of alternating color strung in a zigzag line, decorating the blue part. The small tassels that form the body of the Csafring are connected to the lower green section. The colors of the fringes are also rhythmically repeated and are the same on each tiny tassel. The rows of the beaded net that serves as an attachment between the tiny tassels and the head are called arches. Red and black beads appear in the upper layer and blue beads in the lower layer. The beads of the arches are also larger. The separators, which are the common beads of 2 such arches, are always white. This serves a decorative role on one hand, and on the other it makes the beading easier because you don't have to calculate where to put the next arch, as you can immediately see the location of it. For the International Beading Week, I made a modern small tassel variation that you can use not only as a keychain or as a charm for your bag, but you can even make earrings out of it. You can find this free beading pattern on the International Beading Week website, the link to which can be found in the description below. If you like the video, drop a like. And if you would like to see similar content like this in the future, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.